Hello everybody and welcome back. My name's Sascha Cooper and today we're going to conclude the tale of Her Majesty's Servants from the Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling. Yesterday, when we joined our animals, they were sharing all their different experiences on the battlefield and also the idea of fear being normalised, not just in life, but here in this difficult situation. Shall we see how this story concludes? Then I'll begin. I whistled, and Vixen ran up to me, muddy all over, and licked my nose, and told me a long tale about hunting for me all through the camp. I never let her know that I understood beast talk, or she would have taken all sorts of liberties. So I buttoned her into the breast of my overcoat, and Two Tails shuffled and stamped and growled to himself. Extraordinary, most extraordinary, he said. It runs in our family. Now, where's that nasty little beast got to? I heard him feeling about with his trunk. We all seem to be affected in various ways, he went on, blowing his nose. Now, you gentlemen were alarmed, I believe, when I trumpeted? Not alarmed, exactly, said the troop horse. But it made me feel as though I had hornets where my saddle ought to be. Don't begin again. I'm frightened of a little dog, and the camel here is frightened by bad dreams in the night. It is very lucky for us that we haven't all got to fight in the same way, said the troop horse. What I want to know, said the young mule, who had been quiet for a long time, what I want to know is why we have to fight at all. Because we're told to, said the troop horse, with a snort of contempt. Orders, said Billy the mule, and his teeth snapped. Hukum-hey, it is an order, said the camel with a gurgle, and the Two Tails and the Bullocks repeated, Hukum-hey. Yes, but who gives the orders? Said the recruit mule. The man who walks at your head or sits on your back, or holds the nose rope, or twists your tail, said Billy and the troop horse, and the camel and the bullocks, one after the other. But who gives them the orders? No, now, you want to know too much, young'un, said Billy, and that is one way of getting kicked. All you have to do is to obey the man at your head and ask no questions. He's quite right, said Two Tails. I can't always obey because I am betwixt and between. But Billy's right. Obey the man next to you who gives the order, or you'll stop all the battery, besides getting a thrashing. The gun bullocks got up to go. Morning is coming, they said. We will go back to our lines. It is true that we only see out of our eyes, and we are not very clever. But still, we are the only people tonight who have not been afraid. Good night, you brave people. Nobody answered, and the troop horse said, to change the conversation, Where's that little dog? A dog means a man's somewhere about. Here I am, yapped Vixen, under the gun tail with my man. You big blundering beast of a camel, you upset our tent. My man's very angry. Phew, said the Bullocks. He must be safe. Course he is, said Vixen. Do you suppose I'm looked after by a bullock driver? Oosh, oh, said the Bullocks. Let's get away quickly. They plunged forward in the mud and managed somehow to run their yoke on the pole of an ammunition wagon, where it jammed. Oh, now you have done it, said Billy calmly. Don't struggle. You're hung up till daylight. What on earth's the matter? The bullocks went off into the long hissing snorts that Indian cattle give, and pushed and crowded and slewed and stamped and nearly slipped and fell down into the mud, grunting savagely. You'll break your necks in a minute, said the troop horse. What's the matter with men? I live with them. They eat us. Pull, said the near bullock. The yoke snapped with a twang, and they lumbered off together. I never knew before what made Indian cattle so scared of Englishmen. We eat beef, a thing that no cattle driver touches, and of course, cattle do not like it. May I be flogged with my own pad chains! Who'd have thought of two big lumps like those losing their heads? Said Billy. Oh, never mind. I'm going to look at this man. Most of the men I know have things in their pockets, said the troop horse. I'll leave you then. I can't say I'm overly fond of 'em myself. Besides, men who haven't a place to sleep in are more than likely to be thieves, and I've a good deal of government property on my back. Come along, young'un, and we'll go back to our lines. Good night, Australia. See you on parade tomorrow, I suppose. Good night, old hay bale. Try to control your feelings, won't you? Good night, Two Tails. If you pass us on the ground tomorrow, don't trumpet. It spoils our formation. Billy the mule stumped off with the swaggering limp of an old campaigner as the troop horse's head came nuzzling into my breast, and I gave him biscuits, while Vixen, who was a most conceited little dog, told him fibs about the scores of horses that she and I kept. I'm coming to the parade tomorrow in my dog cart, she said. Where will you be? On the left hand of the second squadron. I set the time for all my troop, little lady, he said politely. Now, I must go back to Dick. My tail's all muddy, and he'll have 2 hours hard work dressing me for parade. The big parade of all the 30,000 men was held that afternoon, and Vixen and I had a good place close to the Viceroy and the Emir of Afghanistan, with high, big black hat of Astrakhan wool and the great diamond star in the centre. The first part of the review was all sunshine, and the regiments went by in wave upon wave of legs all moving together and guns in a line, till our eyes grew dizzy. Then the cavalry came up to the beautiful cavalry canter of Bonnie Dundee, and Vixen cocked her ear where she sat on the dog-cart. The second squadron of the Lancers shot by, and there was the troop horse, with his tail like spun silk, his head pulled into his breast, one ear forward and one back, setting the time for all his squadron, his legs going as smoothly as the waltz music. Then the big guns came by, and I saw 2 tails and 2 other elephants harnessed in line to a 40-pounder siege gun, while 20 yoke of oxen walked behind. The 7th pair had a new yoke, and they looked rather stiff and tired. Last came the screw guns, and Billy the mule carried himself as though he commanded all the troops, and his harness was oiled and polished till it winked. I gave a cheer all by myself for Billy the mule, but he never looked right or left. The rain began to fall again, and for a while it was too misty to see what the troops were doing. They had made a big half-circle across the plain, and were spreading out into a line. That line grew and grew, till it was 3/4 of a mile long from wing to wing, one solid wall of men, horses, and guns. Then it came straight on towards the Viceroy and the Emir, and as it got nearer, the ground began to shake, like the deck of a steamer when the engines are going fast. Unless you have been there, you cannot imagine what a frightening effect this steady come-down of troops has on the spectators, even when they know it is only a review. I looked at the Emir. Up till then he had not shown the shadow of a sign of astonishment or anything else. But now his eyes began to get bigger and bigger, and he picked up the reins on his horse's neck and looked behind him. For a minute it seemed as though he were going to draw his sword and slash his way out through the Englishmen and women in the carriages at the back. Then the advance stopped dead. The ground stood still. The whole line saluted, and 30 bands began to play all together. That was the end of the review. and the regiments went off to their camps in the rain, and an infantry band struck up with "The animals went in 2 by 2, hurrah! The animals went in 2 by 2, the elephant and the battery mule, and they all got into the ark for to get out of the rain." Then I heard an old, grizzled, long-haired Central Asian chief who had come down with the emir asking questions of a native officer. "Now," said he, "in what manner was this wonderful thing done?" And the officer answered, "An order was given, and they obeyed." "But are the beasts as wise as men?" said the chief. "They obey as the men do. Mule, horse, elephant, or bullock. He obeys his driver, and his driver his sergeant, and the sergeant his lieutenant, and his lieutenant his captain, and the captain his major, and the major his colonel, and the colonel his brigadier, commanding 3 regiments, and the brigadier the general, who obeys the viceroy, who is the servant of the empress. Thus it is done." "Would it were so in Afghanistan," said the chief, "for there we only obey our own wills." "And for that reason," said the native officer, twirling his moustache, "your emir, whom you do not obey, must come here and take orders from our viceroy." And hereby we end this chapter with the parade song of the camp animals. So we start off with the elephants of the gun teams. "We lent to Alexander the strength of Hercules, the wisdom of our foreheads, the cunning of our knees. We bowed our necks to service, they ne'er were loosed again. Make way there! Make way for the 10-foot teams of the 40-pounder train." Gun bullocks next. "Those heroes in their harnesses avoid a cannonball, and what they know of powder upsets them one and all. Then we come into action and tug the guns again. Make way there! Make way for the 20 yoke of the 40-pounder train." Cavalry horses next. "By the brand on my shoulder, the finest of tunes is played by the lancers, hussars, and dragoons, and it's sweeter than stables or water to me. The cavalry canter of bonny Dundee, then feed us and break us and handle and groom, and give us good riders and plenty of room, and launch us in column of the squadron, and see the way of the warhorse to bonny Dundee." The scroon gun mules. "As me and my companions were scrambling up a hill, the path was lost in rolling stones, but we went forward still, for we can wriggle and climb, my lads, and turn up everywhere. Oh, it's our delight on a mountain height, with a leg or 2 to spare. Good luck to every sergeant, then, that lets us pick our road. Bad luck to all the driver men that cannot pack a load, for we can wriggle and climb, my lads, and turn up everywhere. Oh, it is our delight on a mountain height, with a leg or 2 to spare." Then the commissariat camels. "We haven't a camelty tune of our own to help us trollop along, but every neck is a hair trombone. Rit-ta-ta-ta-ta is a hair trombone, and this is our marching song. Can't, don't, shan't, won't, pass it along the line. Somebody's pack has slid from his back, wish it were only mine. Somebody's load has tipped off the road, cheer for a halt in a row. Yeah, grr, ah, somebody's catching it now. Everybody, all the beasts together. Children of the camp are we, serving each in his degree. Children of the yoke and goad, pack and harness, pad and load. See our line across the plain, like a heel rope bent again, reaching, writhing, rolling far, sweeping all away to war. While the men that walk beside, dusty, silent, heavy-eyed, cannot tell why we or they march and suffer day by day. Children of the camp are we, serving each in his degree. Children of the yoke and goad, pack and harness, pad and load." And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That was the final tale of The Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling. I hope you enjoyed the tale as much as I did. And thank you once again for tuning into Quarantine Kids Storytime and supporting all the wonderful tales. At this time of recording, we will be on Chapter 4 of Peter Pan, which is our fundraiser for Great Ormond Street Hospital. And we have raised so far £219 for them. And that's only over 4 chapters. Incredible! Please, if you can, donate to Great Ormond Street Hospital, and also please support all the professional actors that have taken the time out of their schedule to literally do this wonderful deed for us and actually give their services, not just to spread joy and laughter to children everywhere, but for Peter Pan. This is a very special project because all the money that we're raising is continuing in the footsteps of J.M. Barrie himself, who donated his royalties to Great Ormond Street Hospital when they helped his son. So if you want to continue in his footsteps, like I said, please donate. I will put a link down in the description box for you. And also, please keep an eye out for the next episode, which is Chapter 5, in which we get to see Hook and Smee. Now, these particular people who are playing Smee and Hook have also given their time to editing the audio for each chapter. So, huge love and thank you to Jack Chandler and Phil Humphreys, who have done this for us as well. And of course, love to our wonderful founder, Alice J. Crouch, who's done all the wonderful pictures for us as well. So, please continue to support the channel. Please continue to support the readers. And of course, please continue to support Great Ormond Street Hospital and Peter Pan Take Flight. So, my name's been Sascha Cooper, and I'm the co-founder of the project. So, next time you'll see me, you never know, I might be getting all pirated up myself. Stay tuned to find out why. In the meantime, please enjoy the tales. Please enjoy Peter Pan, The Secret Garden, which is our current chapter book. And also, please support Alice as she embarks upon The Wizard of Oz very shortly. She did start it for the channel originally, but of course, as with anything, life gets in the way. But she is back and she is ready to rock. So please do give her all the support in the world. In the meantime, stay safe out there and take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.